Welcome to Hidden Reality. I want you to imagine walking through a village, but more than half the houses are completely vacant. The doors are locked tight and the streets are just eerily quiet. It feels like a ghost town, right? Well, this isn't some forgotten relic. This is Dingucha, a real village in Gujarat, India. But the craziest part isn't the empty homes, it's the posters. They're literally plastered everywhere, boldly promising guaranteed visas to the US and Canada. They sell this seemingly effortless escape to a better life. But, as you'll see, behind these glossy ads lies a really tragic human reality, a desperate gamble that has gripped not just this one village, but thousands of people across the region. This is the donkey process, the fatal illusion of the American dream. Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on this multi-million rupee underground industry. It's an enterprise built entirely on the glittering promise of the American dream, but fueled by staggering, often fatal risks. It's a system where desperate people are sold an absolute lie, paying with their life savings and sometimes, sadly, with their lives. That devastating thought, that fear of a bleak future, is exactly what pushed families to risk absolutely everything. Take the Patel family from Dingucha, for example. Jagdish Patel was a former teacher making a modest income. He just wanted a better education for his kids, and his wife dreamed of a simple job in America. Driven by that desperation, they paid an unbelievable sum to an agent to smuggle them across the border, but they never made it. Tragically, their bodies were found just 12 meters from the US border. They froze to death in brutal -35-degree weather. An entire family's dream, literally frozen in time.
Part 1. The Underground Machinery.
So how exactly is this illusion packaged and sold? Well, the whole thing revolves around something called the donkey process, or sometimes a donkey flight. It's basically the illegal backdoor method of sneaking into a foreign country without a valid visa. And the people pulling the strings, they're these shadowy agents known in the trade as donkers. Now, originally, this term was only used for routes into the UK via the European Schengen zone. But today, it's evolved into a massive, highly organized pipeline funneling people mostly into the United States. And the price tag for this perilous journey? It is absolutely staggering. We're talking about fees ranging anywhere from 2.5 to 6 million rupees. These agencies completely exploit the information gap. They offer different packages, kind of like a travel agency. You've got your deluxe services with forged documents, all the way down to budget options, where migrants are literally just dropped near a border and told to start walking. To afford this, desperate families are selling off their generational farms, liquidating their gold, and just completely wiping out their life savings, all based on a donker's false guarantee. That financial desperation translates into a massive, massive volume of human traffic. Just look at this explosive year-over-year spike. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, over 30,000 Indians attempted illegal entry between 2020 and 2021. The very next year, that number doubled to nearly 64,000. And by the 2022 to 2023 period, it skyrocketed to 96,000. Think about that for a second. That is nearly 100,000 people from just one country attempting this treacherous crossing in a single year. Section 2. Navigating the deadliest borders. You see, the money paid to these agents doesn't buy a safe, comfortable passage. It buys a ticket to some of the most unforgiving environments on the entire planet. On the northern route, crossing down from Canada, migrants face plunging temperatures of -35 to -40 degrees Celsius. At those temps, exposure can literally be fatal in minutes. On the flip side, the southern route from Mexico involves navigating the infamous Darien Gap. That's a 100-kilometer stretch of practically impenetrable jungle, swarming with drug cartels and deadly terrain. And if you make it through that, you still have to trek through scorching deserts. And the human toll here is just devastating. Look at this grim statistic. Over 650 people died in just one single year attempting to cross the treacherous US-Mexico border alone. This isn't just a difficult hike, you guys. This is an active, harrowing survival situation where so many people fall victim to gang violence, extortion, or just the sheer, brutal elements of nature. The southern route builds into this grueling, multi-step odyssey. It typically starts by flying into South American countries with slightly easier visa rules, like Ecuador or Brazil. Step 2 is a massive, exhausting overland journey north through Colombia and Panama. Step 3, surviving the lawless, roadless nightmare of the Darien Gap. And finally, Step 4, coming face-to-face with a formidable Mexico wall and the unforgiving deserts surrounding it. It's a terrifying journey that can take months to complete.
Which brings us to our next section. Why risk death?
Seriously, if the chance of dying is that high, why even do it?
Well, there are three core motivations driving this massive exodus, particularly from Indian states like Gujarat, Punjab, and Haryana. Number one, the pursuit of economic opportunities and that irresistible allure of the American dream. Number two, escaping crippling systemic unemployment back home. And number three, fleeing very real, very dangerous political, religious, or social persecution.
Let's focus on that first reason for a second, the economic drive. A huge part of this is actually fueled by the intense societal pressure of rare success stories. Lower middle-class families might see a neighbor who made it across decades ago and now owns a thriving business abroad. That kind of success generates immense hope, but also a ton of societal pressure to replicate it. But here's the catch. Without the immense funds, the specialized job offers, or the high-level educational qualifications required for the legal avenues, they feel completely stuck. They feel forced to bypass the impossible legal requirements and just take the illegal route. Then there's the sheer desperation of unemployment. Check this out. In late 2022, the unemployment rate in Haryana hit a jaw-dropping 37.3%. That is 4 times the national average. Faced with this toxic cycle of joblessness in rural areas, educated youth are driven to endure absolute nightmares. I mean, some even resort to hiding inside secret, pitch-black shipping containers for months, surviving on barely any food, all just for the slim chance of finding work on the other side.
And for others, it's not about money, it's a literal matter of life and death. Take the story of Jashanpreet from Jalandhar. As an openly gay man, he endured daily, crushing discrimination, and it escalated until he was brutally attacked and mutilated by a violent mob of 15 to 20 people trying to end his life. Terrified for his survival, he used the donkey route to flee through Turkey and France, eventually reaching the U.S. border where he was actually granted asylum. It's a stark, sobering reminder that behind all these statistics are real human beings fleeing genuine horrors.
This leads us to our final section, the final paradox. So what actually happens when they finally reach the end of this harrowing journey? Well, here is a surprising reality that a lot of people just don't realize. The vast majority of these migrants do not try to sneak past guards, hide, and start a secret life upon arrival. Nope. Instead, they actively and willingly surrender themselves to the Border Patrol the second they cross. Why? Because U.S. law explicitly requires a person to be physically present on American soil in order to claim asylum. So paradoxically, the illegal crossing is actually the required first step for their legal claim. Crazy, right? But getting asylum is incredibly tough. It has very strict legal boundaries. To be eligible, you have to prove genuine persecution, whether that's religious, political, or social, kind of like Jashanpreet's case we just talked about. But here is the tragic part. Economic migration, like seeking a better job or escaping poverty, is legally invalid for asylum. Many of these migrants are told by their agents to just lie to the immigration judges. But if they're caught lying during the years-long investigation process, it guarantees deportation and a permanent ban from the U.S. Suddenly, the millions of rupees they spent become entirely worthless. And even for those waiting for their claims to be processed, the promised land often looks vastly different than what they imagined. When they surrender, migrants aren't simply let out into the city to start working. They are placed in indefinite detention centers. One migrant described the grim reality perfectly. He said, "You're locked inside. You're not free. You're depressed." It is just a stark, heartbreaking contrast to the glittering American dream they were sold by the Dunkers. So it really forces us to ask the big question. If the pursuit of a better life requires risking absolutely everything, traversing deadly jungles, freezing tundras, and paying your entire life savings, only to end up locked in a cage waiting for a judge to decide your fate, what is the true cost of the American dream? Subscribe to Hidden Reality for more fascinating documentaries and real-life stories. Thank you for watching Hidden Reality.